When your older girls are married off, who will take on the responsibility?
A lot of the little boys enjoy doing a lot of the same things that we do, so that when one person leaves, we miss not having them around, but we can all come together and still accomplish the same goals.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, February 25th. I am sorry, yesterday got away with me. You know, I have been doing the best I can to get videos to you every single day, but this winter has got us so under the weather. I don't know if it's that we've been locked up inside constantly because of the ick that's still out there, or what, but my husband and I have been down. My husband mostly, he was sick all day yesterday and he's still not feeling the best. So
what a waste.
I have to be a mom first, you guys. That's the top priority, and wife. So here we are back for you with more. I hope everyone out there is feeling good. If you have the ick like we do, get rest, get some sleep, drink some tea, get some vitamin C, whatever you can do to stay healthy. I apologize ahead of time for my scratchy throat. Okay, so we have an update on the Josh Duggar, Anna Duggar situation, and I wanted to talk to you because today was supposed to be the day that we find out any objections that Josh Duggar has or the U.S. attorneys to the PSR, the post-sentencing report that was put together by his PO.
I'm not I'm not denying guilt, and I'm not saying that I'm, as far as anything goes, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So the PO put it in on the 11th of February, which outlines all the different things that they found during their investigation after Josh's conviction. The report is going to be indicative of what his score is in terms of where he should fall for sentencing, and any extenuating and aggravating factors that would make this a situation where he needs like more time, or if there were mitigating factors that make it so he needs less time. It sort of like talks about all of these things. They were supposed to respond to this today. They were also supposed to respond today to the motion that they filed, where they were asking for a new trial. So they asked for a new trial, they asked for an acquittal, or they asked for one of the counts to get dismissed. And the government basically said that Josh had no grounds at all for anything to be dismissed, and that it was all a bunch of nonsense. There was compelling evidence, and Josh Duggar is just basically wasting time.
How much you can divulge, but I'm curious, you're saying there's images being uploaded or images being downloaded?
So when the government responded on the 11th, then saying that Josh Duggar didn't need a new trial, they had no grounds, there was enough evidence that he's exactly where he's supposed to be, the jury came to the right verdict. Josh's attorneys had 2 weeks to respond to that with their final response argument to what the government says. And then it goes to the judge. So they actually requested an extension for that, which those are due on Monday. So when the government responded and put out all of their documents, basically calling Josh a liar and their arguments fluff, his attorneys basically said they needed additional time to address all of the arguments made by the government.
Okay. Have you ever used, or do any of these electronics currently on the property have any of those types of software downloaded onto them?
Yes.
Okay. Which devices are we talking about?
Probably all of them.
So they'll be responding to the motions for a new trial and the motions for the acquittal, all of that on Monday. On top of that, the PSR, the report, those objections were also due today. So Josh had 2 deadlines today that he needed more time for, and he asked the court twice for an extension. But today's request, or yesterday's request for an extension, actually has me scratching my head, because his attorney in the case, I thought, was a little bit vague in why they need this extension. So this is what they said. They want to move for an extension of the deadline to file objections to the initial disclosure of the pre-sentence investigation report. He seeks a 7-day extension, and he says that it was issued, the PSR was issued on February 11th. making the deadline for filing objections February 25th. Duggar is in custody, and undersigned counsel requires a brief extension so as to provide sufficient time to meet with Duggar to review the PSR prior to filing any objections. Due to the press of other matters, including preparing the reply in support of Duggar's post-trial motion, undersigned counsel has been unable to discuss the PSR with Duggar, but intends to do so as soon as possible. So as of yesterday, Josh Duggar's attorneys were basically admitting that they hadn't even talked to him about this report, which was filed on the 11th of February. So his attorneys have had this report for almost 2 weeks, and they have not met with him to let him know what is in this report and what it means for him. And they haven't even gotten to the point where they discuss what objections they have. Who knows what is in that report? Josh is literally just sitting there. I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for him, but think about that. They've had this report for 2 weeks and they haven't met with Josh yet. Remember how Travis Story was not taking his calls? And Travis Story isn't the one that even filed this. This was filed by Justin Gelfand, who is his attorney out of Missouri. So they asked the United States if they could have the extension, and they said that they didn't oppose the request. And then they also confirmed with his probation officer, and they actually said she takes no position to this request as long as it's approved by the court. So this was actually granted by the judge, and the new extension also applies to the government. So the government can object or not object to this if they want, or they can just go with it and discuss, whatever it is that if they want more or less time, they can object. I'm assuming there's probably something in there that is not good for Josh, and that's why his team wants to object to this. I think objecting to these reports is pretty standard as they try to work through all of the details, but part of me wonders if, and again, this is my speculation, is there something in this report that's so bad that it's going to take quite a bit of time for them to actually sit down with Josh? I understand that attorneys are very busy and they have a lot going on with their day-to-day jobs, and they have other clients, but it seems really odd to me that on a deadline of 2 weeks like this, that they would not be able to meet this or even talk with him about what was in this report when it was filed on February 11th. I feel like there's something in this report that's likely not in Josh's favor. And the fact that Josh has no idea, it makes me wonder what it is. Now, Josh could access these reports if he wanted to. He could get them through the court himself, or he could get them directly from his probation officer. But it's more than likely that he may not even have any notice of what was found or what was stated in the report. So Josh's attorneys have consistently, throughout this entirety of his trial, asked for delays the entire time. I cover a lot of court cases, and I have covered a lot of court cases over the years, so delays in court cases are not uncommon. But this specific attorney, I have not seen an attorney do this many requests for delays. And the amount of times he has asked for a delay, he always has to say, like, he even had to make the point of telling the judge he does not intend to hinder or unnecessarily delay the proceedings, because the judge told him that they lost patience with all of these requests. At one point, he wanted an 8-month delay on the trial because he said that it would take all X amount of months for their forensic expert, Michelle Bush, remember her, to go through and sift through all of the documents and make sure the forensics. It was going to take her months and months and months to do this report, which ultimately she didn't need, and the judge did not agree. And he granted the extension, which was beyond the normal the normal extension of 3 months. I think he ended up getting like a 6-month extension. And the judge flat out said to him, you do not get any more delays. So I just find it interesting that no matter what he does, he's always finding a way to ask for a delay. Josh is just, in my opinion, trying to delay the inevitable. Like, I'm starting to see a pattern here with his attorneys that I just don't think that they're doing a very good job. Listen, I know it's their job to defend him, but there's been a lot of just irresponsible behavior by his attorneys, especially on the part of Travis Story with his communication with Justin Gelfand, that I really hope they aren't going to be setting this up for Josh to do an appeal for ineffective counsel. I would literally hate if that becomes the option, because right now it's looking like his attorneys are literally pretty incompetent. I mean, not talking to your client about a report for 2 weeks and then knowing that Travis Story hung up on him like back in December makes you wonder. So Josh and Anna have no idea what was in that report. We don't know what's going on with the report. All we know is that Josh is still in custody in Washington County Detention Center. And this is going to be a deadline on Monday. We'll get Josh's response and we'll go over Josh's response on Monday. And then next Friday, we might get to see the objections, although that might be sealed because the report that was put together by the probation officer was sealed. So that's what I have for now. Another delay for Josh, more time for him to be a pest in the county jail, call Anna 100 times a day, and whine and complain about how he's not guilty. All right, you guys, what do you think is in that report? And what does the nanny do? Bye, guys.